I'm a fan of Rinaldi. I think he's done a good job for Ducati over the last few years because his job hasn't been to win the championship. Scott Redding's job was to win the championship. Alvaro Bautista's job now is to win the championship. And Rinaldi's job is to be best of the rest. Last year he finished top 5 in the championship. He's on course for the same this year. He hasn't had the highs of last year, but he's had it where he's much more consistent, and that's the big thing for him.
That was interesting, just watching Bautista and Rea come down the start-finish straight with the Barney Ducati, Bautista gapping them, and the Barney Ducati sticking right with Jonathan Rea in towards turn 1.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the big stories we're going to see all the way through this weekend. The top speeds aren't that different, actually, between the Ducati and the Kawasaki this weekend, but it's how quickly the Ducati gets up to that speed. And that seems to be the difference. This is Michael van der Mark back in the pits. We saw him shaking his head on his in-lap. Clearly a technical issue for van der Mark. He only did, as you can see there, a couple of laps before coming back into the pits. And he's looking pretty stony-faced down there in the pit box as well. So frustrations for van der Mark. And we've seen this a few times this season for BMW of having issues in free practice 1, being electrical issues at different times in the past. And hopefully for van der Mark, it's not going to be too long in the pit box.
Yes, you've got to say that it hasn't necessarily appeared to affect their performance immediately. I mentioned previously that Redding's best results in the last 2 rounds have been in race 1, so they have been able to hit the ground running, as we still watch Bautista and Rea, and look at Jonathan Rea making the pass down the inside in towards turn 10 on Alvaro Bautista. A little bit of, and actually Rea's gone too deep there through turn 10, and Bautista's come back through, but the early psychological duel between the 2 men who came to blows last time out in Manicourt.
Yeah, and I think for Bautista, he's going to be probably thinking to himself, why are you doing this in free practice? Free practice 1, 15 minutes into the start of the weekend, and you're approaching it like it's a race. And I think this is where Bautista is almost better served just to sit up a little bit, let Jonathan Rea get through, and then not have to worry about him. Rea's trying to get under the skin of the Ducati rider a little bit at this stage, you'd imagine.
Just over 32 minutes remaining in free practice 1. As things stand, it's Michael, Ruben Rinaldi, Jonathan Rea and Alvaro Bautista at the top of the timesheets ahead of Toprak Razgatlioglu.